Kobe Bryant, Rick Fox, Shaquille O'Neal, Samaki Walker with our Circuit City starting lineups for Los Angeles, coming in 23 and 23. Howard Isley, Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, Kurt Thomas, Othello Harrington in the lineup starting tonight for Don Chaney's New York Knicks. John, you had Othello Harrington.
Well, absolutely, and again, he's a guy that's a hustle guy. Don Chaney praised the fact that he's a man that will play hard, he will be aggressive out here. But I think what is very important, Kevin, is the officiating crew, because the Knicks tend to be aggressive defensively, and if they let them play, I think that it'll be better for the Knicks.
And our crew tonight here in the Garden, Joey Crawford, one of the best in the business, Tom Washington, Jason Phillips. A look at Kobe Bryant, who, Danny, in the last 4 games has played about the best he has ever played in a 4-game span in his career.
Yeah, and he's doing everything. And I love what Phil Jackson did. You know, he usually waits till the playoffs. They run a play called Bounder. They set up and set a pick for him in transition. They're starting to do that a lot more. He had to bring it out of the playbook in December this year because of their bad start. Kobe's playing unreal.
The New York Knicks have won 3 consecutive games at home. And the Los Angeles Lakers have won 3 straight on the road. Something's got to give. Here we go. Sprewell against Kobe Bryant. A wide open Kurt Thomas, who is having a career year. And there's Bryant taking it into the palms of Fox and down low to Shaquille O'Neal, the number 5 scorer in the NBA, and shooting 56% from the field this year.
Well, right away, that was too easy. He caught the ball too low. He turned in the middle without any help coming. The Knicks will be out of here in a hurry if they do that. They've got to come down on him, and they've got to stop him from getting it that easily.
And I can't imagine that's the game plan, Coach. I'm sure at the shoot-around they want to talk about, or they talked about doubling Shaq, because Kurt Thomas is such an important part of their team. And, you know, Kurt gets that open jump shot. That's one part of his game that's excellent, is that little mid-range jump shot.
Nice defense by Kobe at the other end, launching at 2. Rebound by Kurt Thomas, who is on a TCU and one of the most valuable New York Knicks, but the best players got the ball right now for New York. Latrell Sprewell for 2. Hits the shot clock, goes back to Los Angeles. 0 for 3, the Knicks have started the game.
And, Coach, you know, you said if they let him play, if they let Thomas and those guys play, but you know what? If they let Shaq play, then it's over for Kurt Thomas. So
it's a real crisis.
So you're saying if they let the Knicks play Shaq tough.
Here's Derek Fisher finding Samaki Walker over Thomas, who gave him some breathing space inside.
Well, and that again, I mean, that's a bonus point. You got Samaki Walker coming into the middle. Shaq comes into the middle too easily. The Knicks have got to really react team defensively wise a lot better to defend in the middle.
And you know, that's because of Shaq. They're going to double team Shaq on the block. They're going to double team Kobe whenever he has ISOs on the wing. Makes it tough.
2-time All-Star Allen Houston, who leads this New York team in scoring, knocks it in. That's the first hit tonight for the Knicks.
When the Knicks guards are doing posting, Kevin, that's because the Lakers are pretty good defensively on the perimeter. But if you slide down and play in the post, a lot of perimeter guys aren't as comfortable guarding the post-up person.
Here's Samaki Walker, who has been invaluable on that front line with a Kurt Thomas rebound. Thomas averaging about 8.5, 9 rebounds a game. He's already got 2 lassoed in this first quarter. And a New York foul. This is on Allen Houston, the $100 million man for the New York Knicks.
Well, right here, Houston, this is what they've started doing a lot more lately, is more running less passing game, getting the ball down the post, and trying to create double teams. There are no double team comes. They don't want to leave the open 3-point shot. The Lakers do not historically double team very much anywhere.
Bryant slashing inside, and he was fouled as he was cruising through the circle. Harrington was reaching in, so was Howard Isley. And the foul goes on Isley, the much-traveled Howard Isley, for the first time.
You know, maybe the Knicks need to warm up a little bit, but really the middle is extremely open for penetration and for posting by the Lakers. They've got to definitely close that middle out.
Here's Shaq working on Thomas. Size advantage, obviously, for O'Neal, who just plays with Thomas inside the lane.
And don't guard him staying behind him, Danny. He can't just let him get that low and stay behind him. Shaq hardly has to jump to score off of that.
Right, and Shaq is shooting the outside shot, so to speak, for him. He's at the end of his range right there, but he's not being very aggressive. But, Coach, I've been watching the last 4 games, and they do not give Shaq this much room. I mean, Shaq, in this game so far, in the first 2 post possessions, he's getting the ball deep before double teams even come. He just goes away from the double team. He's got to be feeling pretty excited right now. That's more room than he's had.
Rick Fox just picked up the foul.
Well, and that's one of the things that they said earlier, that they tried to force Shaq in the middle so the help would be there, but he's going into the middle and no help is there.
Here's Fox, who's picked up his game. In fact, you've seen Horry, Fox, Devin George, Derek Fisher all contribute more. The first miss by O'Neal and a rebound by Allen Houston.
And 3 guys came over that time to help on Shaquille O'Neal.
Great pass by Sprewell, right down the lane to Othello Harrington.
Well, and that's what Othello's effective at. He's a guy that plays off of great players. He gives a lot of hustle. He will rebound, and he'll do the dirty work for a coach.
Lakers have gone 3 of 6 from the field to start the game. Kobe Bryant up to Fisher, over to Fox, picked up by Houston. A 3, good! That's the game's first 3-point attempt and the first 3-point hit.
And that's huge for the Lakers. When you get Fisher, Fox, Horry, Devin George, Samaki Walker, all the role players starting to step up, I think that's the biggest difference in the Lakers' rally since December. First, Shaq is healthy, Kobe's playing unreal, but the role players are all doing their job too.
Houston nails it. Knicks have started the game 3 of 6 from the floor.
That's like giving Houston a layup, giving him that much space on the shot at that range.
It's a good one. Olympic gold medalist for the U.S. back in the 2000 season, averaging 21 points a game this year. The screen by Shaq. Knock away. Sprewell's defense picked up by Thomas. And here comes Sprewell to Howard Isley. Another start for him. And a rebound by Samaki Walker.
Well, that's the Knicks game. The Lakers are the last in the league at defending the threes. New York's #1 at shooting the threes. They rely on that line out there, and they got to knock some of those down in transition as well.
Knicks have a 1-rebound lead so far on Los Angeles. Here comes Isley for 3. This is, in the New York Knicks, the #1 3-point shooting team in the NBA, as Danny told you to open our broadcast. And here comes Kobe Bryant at the other end.
A lot of pick and rolls by both teams. Neither team doing very good. A lot of outside shots are open in this game. And like I said, Lakers are not good at it. Isley hits at the other end.
Knicks have never led. Lakers have led by as many as 5. They're up now by 2.
And we see Shaq right here. He's getting into the paint now. 2 dribbles. Here comes 3 guys. Not much help, though. They go in the wrong area. Samaki Walker's wide open on the offensive glass. Pick and roll defense right here, but they're so concerned with Shaq. Kobe had the shot. Good defense by Kurt Thomas.
Timeout taken, and neither team has made a substitution since that time. Shaq has 4, Allen Houston has 4. That will lead each team so far. Sprewell has started 0-2 from the field after having 38 Tuesday night. Sprewell for 3, and a rebound chased by Thomas, lost and picked up by Fox, who will race the other way and find Shaq, who goes back into Fox, out to Fisher, who bobbles it. That's a Laker turnover. Isley to the athletic Sprewell at the other end.
You see, that's what the Lakers need to do. They need to, I'm sorry, that's what the Knicks need to do. They need to defend and get out quickly. You want to make Shaq use his feet as much as you possibly can, getting up and down the floor.
That's another Los Angeles turnover. Their 3rd in the first quarter. Allen Houston. Bryant with the rebound. Kobe is averaging a career-high, Danny, 28 points, a career-high 7 rebounds, a career-high 7 assists this year.
And he's shooting the ball so well. I mean, 12 3-pointers in one game just a couple weeks ago against Seattle. He's getting better in every element of the game.
Shaq was whacked inside by Kurt Thomas, who is a rugged player. They got it right on the bridge of the nose. Thomas picks up his first foul for the New York Knicks.
And that's important more than anything, is keeping Thomas out of foul trouble. And right here, where's the help? They've been helping him. They've had some success, a couple of turnovers right there. But I don't know what Kurt Thomas could do right there. Except duck and cover.
No, I think the thing is interesting about Shaq is whether off of movement he can get some lift off of his feet right now. I still feel that he's having a lot of difficulty with that foot. And I spoke to him before the game and asked him how much did it hurt. And he said it hurts an awful lot.
Well, they still limit his practice time. He rarely practices with the team. The elevation sometime isn't there. But then you talk with a couple players, they said at practice the other day, he got up and slammed one in hard and getting some elevation.
Well, that's what I noticed about him too, Coach, is he gets it going as the game goes along. I see him do things like get out and run the break and do some things defensively in the 4th quarter games that give you an indication that he's doing great. But he's always been a slow starter in games.
Othello Harrington, they ask him to play defense and rebound, and if he scores, that's extra. And here comes Kobe Bryant. Good defense by Sprewell. Walker tries to clean it up. Inside it's loose. Shaq has got it. And it's fouled again. They'll send him to the line.
Well, that's an example of a shot that ordinarily he would power through those guys and make that. He did a great job of hustling and getting it, but he still can't get back to the basket with the force that he used to be able to get back with.
Now, Danny, Kurt Thomas has 2 fouls.
Well, that's a killer. We see Doliak coming in, but that was the fear that Don Chaney had in starting Kurt Thomas on Shaq, is the possibility of him getting early foul trouble. And Doliak is a bigger body and just as good of a spot-up shooter as is Kurt Thomas, but not the athlete, not the offensive rebounder that Kurt Thomas is.
Shaq, who is shooting a career-high 16% from the free throw line, will be going to the All-Star game in Atlanta. Interestingly enough, he's got the career high in his free throw shooting, and now tonight he has gone 3 of 4, but he's got a field goal percentage of only 56%. That is his worst in the last 7 seasons in the league.
I think that's because he shoots a lot more shots from the perimeter, meaning the 12-foot, 10-foot fadeaways and jump hooks.
Allen Houston. And Houston has started the game 3 of 4. He's got 6 points. Does the 10-year veteran out of Tennessee.
And if they're going to allow Allen Houston to play one-on-one that deep in the post, he's going to have a good night.
Kobe Bryant, right down the middle. Bryant with the patented shot has scored 4 and 2 of 3 from the field.
Well, a lot of confidence is flowing there, and I think that's a key thing right now with the Lakers. They have to play with confidence and instill fear back in their opponent. This is an example of what I was talking about, the Knicks trying to post a lot. I think they respect the defense on the perimeter of the Lakers. Now, Kobe, I mean, he can do whatever he wants to do. Post, shoot, jump shots, move anywhere he wants. He's got a ticket to go anywhere.
Fisher picked up a foul. Doliak is in there for Kurt Thomas, who's on the bench with a couple of fouls. Here goes Sprewell, whittling his way free and knocking one in. He has started 2 of 5, and he's got 4.
Well, both players scoring off again, the pick-and-roll offense. And right there, another turnover. Good defense, taking the ball out of Kobe's hands, not allowing the penetration.
Lakers have 4 turnovers. One knocked away by Kobe Bryant, flying out of no place and swatting it away.
Well, that was a hell of a block, too, Kevin, because he blocked that coming down, not going up. He had gone up, and the fella thought he had him committed, but that just is an example of Kobe's reflex. He goes up. He's on his way down blocking that shot.
That's amazing.
That's a bad offensive play. You got to use the other side of the rim. You got to mix in a right hand every now and then.
That's a good offensive play. It's a great defensive play.
Sprewell. Harrington picked up by O'Neal. Shot clock showing 7. O'Thella Harrington.
And that's a pretty doggone good offensive play, too.
A John Thompson taught move at Georgetown.
That's called the slippery eel, Coach. Did you give him that move at Georgetown?
No, he didn't.
I told him he better not take that shot.
Oh, take credit for it, John. Take credit for it.
It's interesting because Shaquille O'Neal is guarding O'Thella Harrington now, and not Doliak.
Shaq has scored 9 points. He has a game-high 9 right now.
And that's because O'Thella is a low-post player. Doliak and Kurt Thomas are spot-up jump shooters. So, smart move by Phil, I believe.
There's another foul. That's on O'Thella Harrington. Craig Sager, what do you have?
Well, O'Thella Harrington, according to his story, used to be a prolific scorer at Jackson, Mississippi High School until he was recruited to go to Georgetown. He said he bid his time for 2 years, and then the coach there recruited some short guy named Allen Iverson, changed the offense around. He said, I had to play defense or coach wouldn't play me. But he says that's what gave him his longevity and made him a player in the league that's been able to play without the ball and complement other people with his rebounding and defense. We'll be right back.
On Saturday afternoon.
Nene Hilario, another guy that's going to open some eyes as well. People that haven't seen him much. We'll see him in the second game tonight.
Plays for the Denver Nuggets. Here comes Kobe Bryant. Lakers have still not made a substitution. They're working inside, trying to get it to Shaq. Harrington digs it out. And here comes Isley. The New York Knicks, 47% shooting. What a drive by Howard Isley.
And another pick and roll. He's got a foul on Fisher. He had a three-point on the pick and roll. That time he gets all the way to the rim. Poor Fisher, half the time he's out there on an island all by himself against the pick and rolls.
Lakers are shooting 54% from the floor. Shaq That's a game-high 9. What a pass by O'Neal in to Samaki Walker.
Well, and that's a mess up in defense. Othello turned around and looked at Sprewell because he came over to try to double team on Shaq. I guess he wanted Sprewell to drop back, but they had better get it straight because that's what Walker will be able to have a field day on it. Double teams off of Shaq.
Kobe going for it and picks up a foul.
Kobe Bryant of Los Angeles.
They call it on Kobe, and he's got his first of the night.
A good effort by Kobe. It looked like Kobe got tripped right there. But we see the pick and roll defense right here. Good screen coming down the court. No help. Fisher can't ever get in front of Isley. Isley's always been a good pick and roll player from his knowledge playing with Karl Malone and behind John Stockton in Utah.
And I think that also, Danny, reflects what is going on with Shaq's footwork right now. Because under normal circumstances, if someone came through the middle like that, Shaq would contest it a heck of a lot more than he did that one by Isley.
Samaki Walker will leave, and he came down wrong on his foot that last possession. They brought in Robert Horry. He has been playing some nice basketball for Phil Jackson's Lakers.
Well, it'd be interesting to see because, you know, that pass that he made to Samaki, that Shaq made to Samaki, has been there 2 or 3 times already in this game. That was the first time the Lakers recognized it. But quite honestly, Coach, they're not even guarding Samaki. Now Robert Horry, more of a perimeter guy. We'll see if he can make them pay for the double teams.
Samaki Walker, in fact, is going back to the locker room. Shaq with another assist.
Now, that was a great pass.
Feeds Robert
Was that a great pass or not? That was very nice.
But see, Shaq is anticipating that now. Early in the game, they double teamed. They got away with it. Now he's anticipating the double team off of the 4-man, and the 4-man's got 2 easy dunks. Very smart play by Shaq. You can't play the same defense against the Lakers time and time again.
John, who's the best passing big man you've ever seen? Shaq has a game-high 9 points right now, and the 6 points of Allen Houston leading the New York Knicks. Shaq also has a couple assists. That'll bring a smile to your coach's face.
Another post player who's become a good passer throughout the years, who's gotten better and better, is Karl Malone, although he's a power forward. We can't classify him as a center.
Well, I think a lot of them can pass, but the very best of the passes is another issue. Because most people who can score have to be able to pass it out of the post.
Rick Fox just picked up his second foul. Thus, Devin George comes off the bench. George, 4 years out of Augsburg. And while a lot of these guys are going to head down to Atlanta for the All-Star game, Devin George is going back to his hometown of Minneapolis, to tiny Augsburg College. They're going to retire his number 40 at Division III school. Shaq with another rebound.
And an excellent time. That defensive possession right there. The Lakers decided to double team Allen Houston. Kobe had him. They didn't think he could handle him one-on-one. Isaac was not able to convert.
Lakers +2 in rebounding. Robert Horry with his first offering tonight. Doliak grabs the rebound. Doliak has bounced around Orlando, Cleveland, free agent of the New York Knicks. He played with the Cleveland Cavaliers a season ago.
Horry will open up the middle for Shaq, as Danny indicated, because now Harrington can't slough all. He's got to go out and really respect his shot.
How about the outlet pass by Kobe Bryant at the other end, and Shaq was in waiting and fouled as he was going up.
Well, Isley was trying to foul him before he could get the dunk, but Shaq's still going to go to the free throw line. But good play by Robert Horry. He had outside position, not inside. Good feed, long down court pass, perfect. And Isley was trying to foul Shaq while the ball was in the air.
And you can't underestimate that pass. See, he threw that 94 that time, and that's an accurate pass. It looks basic and simple, but sometimes simplicity is the best.
Wow. And Bryant gets the assist for Shaquille right there, and O'Neal's got a game-high 11.
And that's what I'm always amazed that they don't run more of, the Shaq and Kobe pick and roll. You can't trap Kobe because they pick a set so deep, and you can't rotate little people over to pick up Shaq. Very difficult to defend that 2-man game.
George the rebound on the Doliak miss. Here comes Fisher back to Devin George. And Shaq, who has done it all in this first quarter against Doliak. And before that against Kurt Thomas.
See, and by throwing that great pass the last time, Shaq makes the Knicks reluctant to come and help, and that'll get him baskets.
Devin George with the floater. Robert Horry vacuums it in. No shot clock, just the game clock. We're down to 17 seconds to play in the first quarter, and no fouls to give either way.
And you can see it takes 2 New York Knicks to box Shaq out. That's why Robert Horry was able to get that offensive board.
2, 4, 5. The whole team.
It's Devin George for 3. Robert Horry at the buzzer. And that takes us to the end of the first quarter. Shaquille O'Neal, 11 points in 12 minutes. A couple rebounds and a couple of sensational assists. The Lakers have led by as many as 5. The Knicks have led by as many as 1.
And that's a lot. I think that Houston has the toughest time, the toughest schedule coming up in the second half of the season.
All right, we begin the second quarter with the Los Angeles Lakers. Kobe Bryant, Samaki Walker back in there after getting his ankle retaped. Brian Shaw is in there with Robert Horry and Devin George. The Knicks with Sprewell, Charlie Ward, Weatherspoon, Doliak, and Shandon Anderson. And Kobe Bryant, a Sky Pilot, who gives the Los Angeles Lakers their biggest lead tonight of 7. Bryant has 6 as we start the second quarter. And one way to start.
Well, it is a way to start it, but it's also a defensive lapse on the part of New York. Shaquille O'Neal is not in the ball game. You can really focus on who now. You look at Kobe first of everybody, but you don't let him get an easy alley-oop like that.
Kobe Bryant, Danny, I know you're going to like this stat. The foul was called on Bryant. That's his second. That's Sprewell at the line for the first New York Knicks free throws tonight. Over the last 4 games, averaging over 30 points in those 4 games. 28 FGAs a game. That number.
Oh, you gotta love that number. And Kobe's getting it done. And right there, you know, I like the strategy too. Don Chaney coming out, running isolations against Kobe. He picks up his second foul. I got a feeling they're going to keep going at Kobe. Whoever Kobe is defending, they're going to try to put him in an isolation situation, put some pressure on him defensively.
Well, and I think that definitely is correct. You've got to both stop Shaq and Kobe with your offense more than with your defense. And Shaq in transition, and Kobe, as you said, posting up and trying to get him into foul trouble.
Bryant came sailing in that time once again. Another New York Knicks foul. I guess there comes that time when you go, how do we stop him? Doliak picks up his first foul. And here's Kobe at the free throw line, 83%, which is his career average. And this is his first trip tonight. Lakers 3 of 4 from the strike. Knicks are 1 of 2. Here's the national TV package up next. San Antonio and Denver. And next Wednesday, Dallas will take on Milwaukee. Next Thursday, Orlando at Detroit. And we will be in Portland for a good Celtic Portland Trailblazer game. Kobe's got 7. Shaq's got 11. They lead the Lakers. 6 for Houston, leading the New York Knicks.
Well, you talked about New York going to the free throw line for the first time. They're last in the league at getting to the free throw line. That's why they have to get some three-point shots and outside shooting, because that's the strength of their game. And getting to the free throw line is not good.
Oh, another rejection, this time turned in by Horry, as the Lakers are playing tennis with New York Knicks shots tonight.
Well, and I think that's probably encouraging to Phil a lot, because this year they are 17th in field goal percentage defense. Last year they were number 1 in field goal percentage defense. So in order for them to make a push, they definitely have to be very aggressive defensively without making stupid fouls.
Kurt Thomas back in. And Doliak back on the bench. Here comes Bryant. Great fake, a deceptive move. He tried to laser it inside. Shandon Anderson the other way. Kobe Bryant, who's got 2 fouls, was not going to challenge him there, Danny.
No, he didn't want to pick up a third, and that's wise, because Anderson's a good free throw shooter anyway, and he was behind him, which would give him 1 and the ball. But Shandon Anderson, great in the open court, always has been.
Lakers have won 4 straight coming into tonight. Kobe Bryant pulls off another spectacular shot. 9 points, 4 of 6 from the field. Shandon Anderson driving down the baseline. Devin George with the rebound.
And Kobe was very smart on that play. He just let him go rather than pick up a foolish foul out in the corner.
Samaki Walker.
Well, it's a big difference now with Samaki Walker being in the post and Shaquille O'Neal. That's about 3 successive plays where they tried to go into him and lost possession of the basketball, because Shaq presents such a bigger target and is probably far more effective at catching the ball.
Lakers have 6 turnovers already.
Well, you know, throwing the ball to Samaki Walker, the only reason I think they throw it down there to him in the post is just to get the defense to think that it might be Shaq, so someone else will get open. Samaki has not, I'm surprised, Coach, that he has not developed a low post game. He gets so many easy one-on-one opportunities. Coming out of college, he had great potential in that, but that's one part of his game that has not evolved as I thought it would by this time of his career.
How are you going to develop a low post game when they tell you get on the opposite side and get out the way of Shaq?
Well, because he gets a lot of one-on-one opportunities. Plus, he's had an opportunity to play with other teams in this league, with Dallas and San Antonio, and he's had a lot of touches, but he hasn't proven that he's got a low post game down there.
Nice fake by Devin George. He gives the Lakers their biggest lead of 9. Knicks have led by a point early in the game. Charlie Ward. Shandon Anderson against Bryant. Nice knock away by 36-year-old Brian Shaw.
Well, the Lakers, right now, the Lakers are just batting shots back because the Knicks are standing in the shell on the perimeter and just trying to go one-on-one, and the help is in place on the weak side.
Anderson, another breakaway, another rejection by Horry, but this time they catch him. Robert Horry has picked up his first foul tonight. It looked like all ball.
It looked like smothered chicken from here, but I'll tell you what, Kobe's been snake bit twice on those outside shots. I know that he doesn't miss a ball 3 feet left of a basket.
Timeout. 1988 at the old stadium in Chicago. Shandon Anderson.
We don't agree to disagree.
Kobe Bryant on the bench. They got young rookie Kareem Rush out of the University of Missouri in the game. He gives them some good speed, but Danny is very young.
He's very young. He's learning how to play, but this kid is an all-around player. He rebounds, he defends well, he can make the outside shot, stretch the defense, he can beat you off the dribble. He's going to develop into a nice player.
Shaq is back in. The Lakers are hitting 52% of their shots. Horry with the rebound and the 2 to follow.
Well, that's very important because Robert Horry is one of those players that has to step up, along with Fox, along with Fisher, for this team to get at the level of performance that they're capable of doing. And if the Knicks go over to help on Shaq like that, they've got to return and come back and box out from the weak side.
Knicks are shooting 38% from the field. Here comes Shaw, slashing inside.
That is just awful defense. The last 2 possessions, but you know, you can excuse the first one. Shaq demands so much attention and boxing out that Horry slips in there and gets an easy one. But just a 4-lane highway went down there. That Brian Shaw drove down. He's old as I am.
You're 36?
No, I guess not.
Grandpa, 3-point shot by Allen Houston. He's a 40% 3-point shooter.
Yeah, that's not the guy you want to leave open. You know, Isley and Houston are great shooters from the outside, year in and year out. And Sprewell gets hot on occasion like he did the other night, but they do not want to give him easy 3-point opportunities.
Evan George again from outside. Weatherspoon with the rebound.
And the Knicks have to get up and down the floor. You want to make Shaq move as much as you can, involve him in pick and roll, make him move and speed.
2 in a row by Allen Houston.
And 2 defensive breakdowns by Devin George. He can't cheat over the top of a double screen. He knows better than that.
Well, at least he didn't own up to that one. The last one he pointed at himself and said, "My bad." That one he tried to disappear in the hole in the floor.
Yeah, because he can't keep saying bad, or Phil Jackson will say, "Hey, my bad," and get him on the bench.
Said enough, they believe you.
4-on-2. Kurt Thomas steamrolls the rookie Rush, who picks up the foul. Rebounding so far tonight, tied at 18.
Well, we see how much attention there again. The 2 forwards, or the center and the forward right there, they're having their attention on Shaq, and Robert Horry slips in, and he's fighting against the little people in there for the rebound.
Offensive rebounding story.
Those little guards, though, I mean, yeah, they're littler than Horry, but they got to get tougher in there. They got to push and hold and scrap and fight down there when they're undersized on the boards.
They have to get from underneath the basket before they get slapped by somebody under that. That's what they have to do.
Kurt Thomas had a career year last year. Guys, he's having a career year again this season.
A lot of people in New York think that he deserved to be on the All-Star team, and I can't disagree. He's done everything as much as Brad Miller and Ilgauskas. And he does a lot of dirty work. He's the leader on defense. He communicates better than everybody else on the defense, and he's the heart and soul of this New York team.
Knicks on a 6-0 run. Shaq has to work his way inside, and a foul. Lakers have led by as many as 12. Knicks have led by as many as 1. Craig Sager, what do you have?
Well, I talked to Kurt Thomas before the game about his assignment with Shaquille O'Neal. He said he's matched up with him a couple of times in the past when he was with Dallas and other times with the Knicks. He said the best job he ever did on him was a year ago. He scored 20 points at one end to put pressure on Shaq. He said, but unfortunately at the other end, Shaq had 40. He said the only way he has any chance whatsoever against Shaq is if he can lean on him and keep pushing him out. But the problem with Shaq is that he's improved so much with a jump hook and his ability to shoot over the top that there's no way that he personally can even come close to defending him one-on-one.
Shaq now 4 of 6 from the free throw line tonight.
Yeah, you know, you just got to hope that Shaq's going to settle for some shots, not be really angry at you. Don't do anything to get him too mad.
Shandon Anderson.
Too short for the ball game.
Robert Ory with his 6th rebound.
The thing you have to do with Shaq, though, is when you're on offense, you got to get him moving as much as possible if he's a guard here.
Shaq again inside. He's got a game-high 14 points.
And that's where he's always the most difficult. You know, catching the ball in the block is not the difficult part of defending Shaq. It's when they move the ball from side to side in their triangle offense and they get Shaq from high to low. That's where he's unguardable.
Allen Houston. Wide open Weatherspoon.
See, and that's the problem because Shaq is guarding Weatherspoon. He doesn't want to come out there. That's the thing that you have to do. Weatherspoon has to get up and down the floor. He has to be involved in pick and roll. He has to be involved in all things that would create motion for Shaq and cause him to use his feet.
Thomas with the rebound. Shaq tonight has gone 5 of 8. Warren, Weatherspoon. Knocked away off the Lakers. Nope, off New York. There's 7th turnover.
And it's a better job of double teaming Shaq this time. This time when they go from high to low, you see how much room he has. The double team can't even get there. Shaq's got bone in his body. He will come out intense. And I like Stoudemire.
You don't like big guys.
I love big guys that can play.
I'll take Richardson. I'll take Richardson.
I just don't like big guys that are just big. I like big guys that are good.
That's the same way I feel like little guys, just little.
But all the little guys are skilled anyway.
Here's Bryant, who has 11 behind the back and almost in. Almost pulled off the circus shot inside. Wow, that would have been a ball.
Kobe went in and won his obligatory one-time slam dunk champion and decided to let the youngsters do it. Save his knee, especially with that tendonitis in his knee.
I'll tell you, one of the things you notice about the Lakers, Danny, is that they're starting to get that swagger back again. I noticed early in the season they didn't look as confident. They didn't have that little swagger about them. But the guys are now starting to play with a lot more confidence now.
And I think that they get their confidence so much from Shaq and Kobe, the other players on the team. And they're all starting players. Like we said, I mean, Devin George is finally starting to play good basketball in the last 3 or 4 games. Fox and Fisher are starting to play. You know, Ory's always played the kind of game that he plays. But, you know, Shaq, when he's dominating inside and playing that dominant style, and Kobe's doing it, I mean, it's easy for those other guys, and those shots become more open and more open all the time.
Shaq has 14, and Kobe Bryant's got 12. 11 for Houston. Rebound by Robert Ory. He's come off the bench and collected 7 rebounds. Charlie Ward got in the way, and Tom Washington got in the way of Charlie Ward.
That's a great defensive play by Tom Washington.
That's why he said it that way.
I don't think that he was that good a defensive player when he played ball right there. But that was good D. Transition defense.
Doliak back in with Houston, Othello Harrington, Sprewell and Warren for the New York Knicks. Fisher back in, Bryant, Ory, Shaq, and Devin George. Shaquille O'Neal. Good fake on Doliak, who bit, and Shaq hooks it home. He's got a game-high 16.
Well, you give him space and let him turn into the middle without the help coming. And I understand that Chaney wanted him to go to the middle because he thought that was the side that the help would come from. But if you don't give help, you're at his mercy.
Devin George is not using his head. He's an athletic guy. He's big, he's strong, and he's quick. But Allen Houston is torching him with the brain right now. Beating him off the screens, getting him in the air. Not smart basketball by Devin George.
Just picked up his first foul.
Sometimes it's not good to use your head.
That's right.
Use somebody else's.
Instinct, you know, if you have instinct, there's a lot of players that are so instinctive players, such instinction. But the bottom line is, you know, Devin George doesn't have a lot of experience to rely on, and a player like Houston has been defended by everybody and played against every kind of different defense.
The Knicks are 3 of 7. Now 3 of 8 from the free throw line. The Lakers are 6 of 10. Shooting from the strike tonight. Not many threes either.
I think I get a point for that. I think I said extinction.
Yeah, that is a point. Good, thank you. Bryant flies inside. Another New York foul. Sprewell picks up his first.
You talk about the role players on the Lakers team. Whenever Shaquille O'Neal is not playing well, more focus goes on those role players. Role players aren't the people who you want to focus on. But when Shaq is going extremely well and Kobe is going extremely well, these guys are able to fall into place and just play their little bit parts.
Lakers shooting 55% from the field. Shaq shoved again. And that time it goes on Doliak, and he's got 2.
Well, when you see Shaq, he demands so much attention down in the paint. That's what makes it so much easier. Here's a double team, easy pass. And, you know, when guys get easy baskets like that, the game is so much easier. Robert Horry, now when he steps outside, he's going to make the outside shots a little bit easier. And Shaq, when he is aggressive, and same with Kobe, they demand so much attention to be stopped that those shots are a step more open. They don't have to rush them. And it's just, so what if you shoot him? Shaq's even going to get the rebounds back.
Well, and your point about George and being inexperienced and not being able to play off for people, I think that applies to Walker too. That when Horry is in the game with Shaquille O'Neal, he makes the opponent pay for the help with his experience, whereas Walker has a tendency to float around out there and not make them pay for going after Shaq.
But why is that? I mean, why did those those guys have been around a long time now? They've been 4 years and 5 years in the league. And, you know, is it something that you just know and some players have a knack at it?
Well, I think it's a combination of both, but I also feel that it's a question of being in that role enough and being used a lot in that role.
Sprewell rejected by Shaq inside.
Great play by Shaq right there. But there again, Devin George gets beat. And thank goodness you got the big fella there.
4 Laker blocks tonight. Harrington surprised he had room to shoot. And
There's that high school
and he can make that little shot right there. The fella is very accurate at making that shot.
Hey, the guy averaged 25 a game in high school. You took the ball out of his hands.
I
What's
cut a lot of 30-point scorers, too, who couldn't play defense, wouldn't rebound, and wouldn't get back.
Robert Horry over Harrington. Rebound by Ward.
Just like all these guys on the court right now, average 25 points a game in college.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Harrington with the miss. John, could you have coached Danny when in college at Georgetown?
I would have loved to take him at turn at him. Child abuse. I would have been very abusive with it. I like Danny, though, as a player. He ran his mouth all the time, but he did hustle.
Laker timeout.
I would have got up 25 FGAs, too.
I don't think so.
He said every year he has improved. He's one of the smartest players in the league. He always plays to his strength. He's always in the paint. He throws out of the double team. He doesn't force shots. He doesn't take bad shots. And he says right now, he is totally unstoppable. He says you remember when Patrick and he used to gang up against him. He is nowhere the player that he is now.
I think the interesting thing about that is, Coach, you know, you've seen all the big guys play. I still think Shaq is the most dominant of all of them because he's so physical and he's so unguardable. Just for that reason alone. He's not as good a shot blocker or passer as some, but he cannot be guarded more than any player that's ever played, I think.
Well, you have to give him his due, but, you know, I don't like to say ever because I haven't seen them all, but I would say during his era, he's as dominant as any I've seen. The thing I like about him is that he loves to get in and play the position that he was built to play. You see so many 7-foot guys now that go outside, they don't have any post moves, they can't defend anybody or can't block a shot. He does what he's supposed to do first, and I respect him for that.
Lakers' big lead has been 13. Harrington inside and over O'Neal. Derek Fisher the other way.
I tell you, Danny, as the game moves on, you're absolutely correct. Shaq warms up and gets looser. You know, in the beginning, I thought he was having far more trouble than I think he's having now in moving.
Shaq's got 13. Out of bounds off of the New York Knicks. Lakers are shooting 51%. The Knicks are shooting 41%.
And that's what I got a kick out of that Yao Ming matchup with him. You know, Yao Ming in the first 5 minutes of the game, Yao Ming had his way with Shaq. Did a good job of blocking a shot early in the game. Shaq destroyed him from that. Yao Ming was so tired the rest of the game.
Great looking three by Derek Fisher. And he has only gone 4 of his last 12. Above the three-point arc over the last 5 games. It gives the Lakers their biggest lead tonight. Ward for 3, and he can definitely knock it in from downtown.
And you know what? They got so many good three-point shooters on the Knicks. There's one sad thing. They did not have Antonio McDyess in the lineup because he would create a lot more double teams, open three-point shots for the strength of their team, and be that low-post offensive presence that this team needs so much.
2-on-1. Ward around Kobe Bryant. What a move by Charlie Ward.
Kobe Bryant kind of shot he put on Kobe Bryant.
Great feed. Bryant to Shaq. They worked so well together.
What about that sweet little shot by Charlie Ward, though, right there? The scrambling quarterback. He looked like Bryant driving down the lane.
Heisman Trophy winner. Shaq has 19. Kobe's got 13. Allen Houston, the only player in double figures with 11. Sprewell pops in a 3 from outside. He's got 8. 3 of 7 from the field.
How can New York trade Sprewell? You know, there's a lot of talk about that. I don't understand that. That guy is a very good player. If they trade him, it would only be for money, but they better get someone really good in return. And if I was a team out there and knew that the Knicks might want to trade him, man, I'd sure be trying to get him.
Great match. Oh, Kobe Bryant! He carved for human life! What a play!
Oh, my goodness.
Talk about a rim rattler.
At the other end.
That was sweet.
That's as good as it gets, folks.
But that insult to injury, he didn't even smile after he did it. It looked like he was mad at someone.
Wow. Oring for 3. Uncovered, knocks it in. The Lakers have gone 3 of 4 shooting threes. The New York Knicks 4 of 8.
I'm telling you right now, they're getting their swagger back.
And did you see how wide open Robert Horry was?
That's Sprewell again.
You know what? That guy's never lost his swagger either. That's one thing I love about Latrell Sprewell. He plays with a swagger.
Hold on for Shaq and buckle up inside as O'Neal elevates and goes airborne.
A whole lot of people better hope these guys don't make the playoffs. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, I can tell you right now, they're in the playoffs.
Oh, my goodness.
We've done a lot of games in this building, but the buzz in this building right now is amazing. 3-on-2 Fisher. Under 10 seconds to play. No fouls to give either way. Kobe for 3. Yes! Kobe Bryant has an assist.
I would say that's a little bit of a swagger to finish the half.
18 points for Bryant, 14 in the second quarter. But Shaq's 21 will take the Lakers to the locker room.
Oh, Craig Sager's over there with Kobe. I want him to see the replay. Get a monitor over there.
Wow.
This is just a lay-in drill right here, but they're getting an open court, putting so much pressure on Kobe in the backcourt. It's 2-on-1 down at the other end of the court.
And then the big-time 3. And watch this. Oh, wow. The electrifying Kobe Bryant is with our Craig Sager.
Okay, Kobe, we saw it again. Sprewell, one of the great defenders of the league, has you in the corner, almost steals the ball. You take it from there.
Yeah, well, he's being really aggressive on me, and it was important to be patient, utilize my footwork, clear some space, and go by him.
You've been playing so well. Player of the month in January, over 34 straight games. Why the difference?
Well, you know, Coach wants me to be more aggressive for the benefit of the team. So as a consequence, he's been able to open up the offense for me. I'll be able to create a little bit more, be a little more assertive at certain first points in the game to, you know, to really get us going.
Well, thanks for the highlight reel. See more of you in the second half. Let's go back to Kevin.
Right before halftime.
Well, you just hope that the Lakers aren't going to come out tentative in the second half, because this first half finish is unbelievable. Everybody, they're playing on all cylinders. They're getting dunks, they're getting lay-ins, they're getting three-pointers. They're doing everything, just dominating the game.
They're back.
They are back. I think you guys have both used the term swagger. Swagger is back. Danny, look at who they've beaten the last 4 games. Indiana Tuesday, Utah by 12 Saturday, Sacramento by 9. Last Friday, Phoenix by 9 a week ago. I mean, good quality playoff-bound team.
Absolutely. And New York's been playing good basketball, too, lately, especially on their home court. So, you know, this competition they're playing, they definitely are back.
Here's Shaq doubled inside, outside to Rick Fox, who launches a 3 and buries it. And the Los Angeles Lakers have gone 5 of 6 above the three-point arc tonight.
Well, Phil Jackson said that they were playing as well as any team in the NBA the last few games. And obviously, they're playing as good as any, if anything else right now. But the thing that they have done is not only regain their swagger, but they've put the fear factor back in opponents now if they continue to play like that.
Isley with the foul on the 2-on-1 break, and let's swing it to Craig Sager.
Well, missing part on the court right now, Allen Houston is in the locker room. He complained at halftime that he bruised his wrist in the first quarter. It started to swell up. Trainer Mike Saunders took a look at it, and he is not going to return in the second half. It's not only the right wrist that was bruised. However, we talked to John Chaney. He said that these guys are professionals, and when Kobe made that dunk in the late in the second quarter, he thought his team just collapsed and started looking around and not playing the way they should. He also says we need to help out, not only on Kobe but Shaq, and forget about their three-point shooters. We can't guard everybody. Kevin.
Thank you, Craig. Lakers out there with Bryant, O'Neal, Samaki Walker, Fisher, and Fox. Shandon Anderson has taken the place of Houston. Driving inside is Kobe Bryant. And a foul. Anderson, Harrington, Sprewell. Isley just picked up that foul, and Kurt Thomas picking up his. Not making Anderson picks up his first foul.
Well, and that's a terrible thing to have said about you if your coach said once a dunk was made in the ball game, the whole team collapsed.
Sprewell had him. There he goes again. Flying inside. That trickles off. Fox, the offensive rebound. Lakers have a commanding lead on the glass, plus 11.
Well, Houston's been bothered by a sore back and a bad toe. I think it's a combination of everything. His body's just beat up.
Howard Isley, one of the top assist men in the NBA. And only 3 of 11 shooting threes last 5 games. Knocks in that right there. He's got 8 points tonight. Kobe is ready to just do about anything acrobatic he can think of. He's concocted one great move after another.
Sprewell's too close, but Kobe's got his back turned right here. It's too easy. If you're that chest to chest on him, you know, that's just too easy to drive. When the guy turns his back, you got to retreat defensively a little bit with your forearm or your hand into his backside.
Well, and particularly once he touches the ball, if you're touching him, he doesn't have to look for you anymore. He can feel you. He can look at the floor and see where he wants to go.
Bryant with the miss. Walker with the rebound. Back out to Fisher. They swing it to Fox. Another 3 on the way. And down the pipe it goes.
Well, that's
6 of 7, John. 6 of 7 3-point shooting for the defending champion.
And absolutely, Kevin, that graph you showed with the effectiveness of scoring inside by the Lakers, that opens it up for the outside shooters like Fox. And if they hit those shots, then the Lakers will cause trouble for anybody.
Yeah, they're unbeatable when they do that. I mean, it's unbelievable. But you see we talk about the swagger of the Lakers, and we look over on the Knicks, and their heads are all down. They call timeout, and they walk. They're all discouraged and frustrated because you're sitting there going, okay, we stop Shaq, we double team him, open 3. They're picking their poison, and they're getting beat in every element.
Well, Danny, as you said earlier, the Knicks have been playing well at home. They've won 3 straight games at home, and the record here is 15-12.
Well, you know, I just think that the Knicks are not a great team, especially on the interior. They don't rebound the ball very well. They don't have any low post scoring. They don't get to the free throw line. They rely on the three-point shot, so they're up and down. But they have been playing well, and the Lakers are vulnerable to that three-point shot, so you feel like they have a chance. But even though they've been shooting the ball well, the Knicks, from the outside, they just can't get the inside basket.
And the Lakers have been underachieving. Who are we kidding? You talk about a championship team. What they have to regain are the 2 things that we said. Their swagger, and it's still fair that a champion puts on a team that they come into to play against. How about that? I couldn't even get it out seeing what he's doing. This boy's unbelievable.
Kobe's got 20. Shaq has 21. Leading scorer for the Knicks out for the game. Bad wrist for Allen Houston. Isley's hit 2 in a row. Rebound. Samaki Walker.
And that's all they get. I mean, they don't even sniff the paint unless they get a fast break.
Shaq 8 of 13. Defended well that time by Thomas.
Well, he turned him outside. Shaq was fading. He didn't get a lot of lift on that shot.
Watch out! Kurt Thomas inside. One time in college, he led the country in scoring and rebounding in the same year. Only 3 others have done that. TCU is where he played collegiately. Samaki Walker picks up his first foul.
They're just letting him play one-on-one down there. There's no help coming, but he does a good job. Just takes the first 2 blows, forces Shaq to shoot those baseline jumpers, doesn't even get close. And then he takes advantage at the other end. He runs down knowing Shaq is still talking to the ref, still lazy getting down there with an 18-point lead, and he gets the first touchdown on the low post.
He might have done a good job, but tomorrow he'll pay for it. He'll be sore tomorrow pushing that big fella around.
He got a week off.
Trading deadline, guys, is 2 weeks away, February 20th. Sprewell's been talked about. Danny, you touched on it in the first half. Kurt Thomas's name has been thrown around. What can the Knicks do? They've got incredibly significant salary cap issues right now.
I don't see how they can trade Kurt Thomas, not unless they get a better player, which I just don't see that happening. And same with Latrell Sprewell. I mean, Sprewell they can move, but if they're going to just try to unload money for a cash transaction, you know, that's not the Knicks style. They're so far over the cap anyway. I can't see them doing it. I think they'll both be here for the summer.
Well, you don't want to deal a very good player for a good player. You hope that you at least get your value back. And the Knicks, as you indicated, which is very true, although they're probably overachieved so far, the Knicks are depleted as far as talent is concerned. You get rid of Sprewell and Thomas, my God, what do they have?
Bryant now has 22. Derek Fisher just picked up his second foul as Isaac puts it in.
These are 2 tough guys right here, though. They're really competing. Sprewell, there he gets too tight, loses control of the ball. I guess they thought that ball was touched by Sprewell because that looked like a travel to me, but still a spectacular shot.
Knicks will be $50 million plus over the camp this summer. The luxury camp, luxury tax will take effect. That's dollar for dollar.
Well, plus McDyess was excited to play with Sprewell, both Alabama guys. And, oh my goodness. I mean, we can't even have a chance to talk because Kobe's just putting on a show here.
One acrobatic shot after another. 24 now for Kobe Bryant. Fisher is hit by
Thomas.
Kurt Thomas, yeah, with the pick. Bryant touch pass to O'Neal. I mean, this display is just mesmerizing.
You know, and Sprewell's good defensively. I mean, he does a great job. But Kobe's has a tough time one-on-one. But right there, the big guys for the Knicks. I mean, it's just, we keep harping on it. They have no interior defense, but they don't help on the perimeter either. That was awful right there by Weatherspoon stepping out on the track.
Well, he split 2 guys. I mean, in 3 if you count his man that was setting the screen. I mean, that was an unbelievable play. That's hard to defend anyway.
Shaq from the free throw line tonight, 70%, 7 of 10, 60% for the season, 53% for his career. Shaq's got 23, Kobe's got 24. Sprewell, great fake. Isley. He's had a good third quarter. Howard Isley, 13 points in 16 minutes. 8 have come in this third quarter.
You can see the Lakers practicing a little zone, maybe a little playoff zone right there. They got a 20-point lead, and it's a good opportunity, and they were moving a lot on that zone defense right there. I was impressed.
And that's what was good about it, Danny. You had 3 guys rotate towards the ball. Isley just hit a tough shot. You are absolutely correct. The Lakers definitely were working that time.
Lakers shooting 57% from the field. Knicks, a very respectable 48% from the floor. Out of bounds, turnovers tonight. Lakers with 10, Knicks with 13.
And that's what Walker's got to be able to do. He plays off of Kobe that time. The defense went to Kobe. He sliced to the basket. He couldn't get the handle on it to pick it up.
Nicely picked up by Fisher. A 3. Harrington didn't jump high enough. Walker did. Walker gets the rebound. Lakers play like this, fellas. The first and second round, the Western Conference playoff is going to be phenomenal. Because I don't know if there's a lot of wiggle room right now in the West.
Got Howard Isley here swearing at the Knicks fans in the front row. They're getting on him. Howard Isley's playing fine.
Kobe Bryant once again. He's a flamethrower. Kobe Bryant has put in 27 points.
You know what? I mean, there's a lot of talk about MVPs and all that kind of stuff, but if he keeps playing at this level that he's played the last 5 games, I mean, he's definitely got himself back in the hunt after a slow start this year. He's definitely in consideration.
I agree.
I don't. I I certainly think he's playing fantastic, but they've got to make the playoff #1 first, and then they've got to be reasonably successful. I still go with Chris Webber right now.
Yeah, I'm just saying he's back in the hunt.
He is. He's playing extremely well. He's back in the hunt, but he's not chasing the rabbit yet.
Chris Webber's on the bench.
But here's what here's what John's talking about. Without Shaq, they were 4-9. Kobe was the guy. With Shaq, 19 and 14. So, John, you've got those numbers at your back.
Why are you bothering to explain this to him?
Wait. Well, what does that have to do with anything? First of all, these guys are playing terrible. I know Kobe was playing good early in the year. Not as good as he's playing now.
He's playing well. That's another mark on yours.
He's playing good, too. In fact, he's playing awesome. Sweet. Hey, but I mean, the guy he makes all the clutch shots for this team, and I'm just saying if they continue at this pace, I'm just assuming that they're going to get back in the playoffs.
Kobe is playing as well as anybody is playing right now in the NBA. Chris Webber is the MVP.
Stanislav Benedetko is in the game. Kobe Bryant, 27 minutes, 27 points. 11 of 17 from the field. He's done it inside with what was a great shot there. A dazzling array on the world's biggest stage. Kobe Bryant, player of the week in the NBA 4 times. And, of course, he is the leading vote getter for the All-Star game, which you'll see on TNT Sunday night.
And he's going to be the player of the month in February if he keeps up this pace. Maybe what he's already doing in February, it's amazing.
Sprewell went 9 of 9 from three-point territory against the Clippers Tuesday night here. Knocks that in. Sprewell's got 15. Allen Houston out for the game with the wrist injury. X-rays being taken right now.
But getting back to this whole thing, I'm not saying Kobe's the MVP. I agree with Coach. Chris Webber, although he's the MVP of this game right now, I can tell you that. Holy cow, every time you start talking about him, he just makes another miracle shot. But, you know, you got to have Chris Webber, Kobe, Jason Kidd, Tim Duncan, Shaq, and Kevin Garnett are in the hunt. One of those guys will be MVP when it's all. There's a lot of games to be played, and I'm just saying Kobe is back on the ballot.
Well, and there's no question about that. I think the guy is a great player because he plays at both ends of the floor. It's bad enough to put people in an all-star game without their team winning, but I don't want to give somebody the MVP unless their team makes the playoffs and is having a significant impact on almost winning it. And his is not even in the playoffs right now.
Kobe's got 30 for the 5th consecutive game or more. Let's go to Craig Sager.
We mentioned the X-rays for Allen Houston. They are negative. I talked to Allen. He said he got hurt a minute into the game, got hit on the wrist. It wasn't until halftime it started to swell. That's why I wasn't able to continue to play, but the X-rays are negative.
That's Kurt Thomas. Rebound by Fox. Lakers continue their domination on the glass. Right now they are plus 15 in rebounding tonight. Lakers shooting 58%.
You know, Don Chaney was absolutely correct.
Oh, right between the eyes. Kobe Bryant with 33 points.
Don Chaney was absolutely correct about the Knicks, about the Knicks surrendering after that dunk. You want to see your team get more competitive, not less competitive on the performance of a competitor.
Weatherspoon. Shaq with the rebound. Shaq tonight 26 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Lakers have hit their last 7 3-point attempts, 8 of 9. Bryant again. Kobe with 35.
I don't know what else they can do. I mean, they're trying everything defensively. They're double teaming him on the pick and rolls. They're pushing the pick and rolls baseline. They switch players up on him. I just don't think they have anything to stop Kobe.
Lee Nalen is in the game for the first time, and he misses.
And Shaq play a little point guard here.
The toes don't need that. Give it up and get back down, big fella.
He needs it a couple times a game just so he doesn't get bored. He might not pass this.
He's working on Anderson, a pretty good defender. The other end for Shandon Anderson. Fisher there to defend. A foul on Fisher. Count the 2 for Shandon Anderson. Kobe Bryant, 35 points in 29 minutes tonight.
Just everything. I mean, 3-point shots. Get to the free throw line. Shooting with his left hand. Driving. Posting up. Shooting fadeaways.
And then even when that ball was taken away from him on that last possession, he dove and made a tremendous defensive effort to try to get that ball back. And that's what goes unnoticed because of his great offensive ability.
Range and Craig Sager. This is Kevin Harlan. We are at Madison Square Garden, which has been treated tonight to one of those special performances that I'm sure even if you're not a Laker fan, you've got to appreciate, you've got to admire. It's phenomenal what we're watching tonight with Kobe Bryant, who has outscored the Knicks himself 17-16 in this quarter. Bryant getting it back into Shaq. And Shaquille O'Neal with 27, Kobe with 35.
Well, Kobe got hammered going to the basket right there by Kurt Thomas. No call, but the result was good. Pretty good, easy basket for Shaq. Inside again.
Lee Naylor. Outside for Anderson. Stepped out of bounds.
You know, during each timeout, they keep checking the rim down here at the New York Knicks basket. I keep saying, hey, why don't we put it down at 8 feet and give them a chance? But I think the defense by the Lakers is causing the Knicks to have a little bit of blurry vision right there. They think that basket's crooked.
What they don't realize is they're running to the perfect storm. Kobe.
Well said.
That's exactly what is going on out there. You can measure the rim all you want to. You better guard him if all the team.
Oh, that's a sign of a great player too, when it causes you to get the rims look blurry.
Anderson kicked it. Well, tonight Bryant's got 35. And 17 of those points have come in this third quarter, where he shot 70%. As you can see, he's outscored the Knicks team by 1.
It's just one hell of a performance. You hear so many people compared to Michael. This is more Michael-like than most things that I've seen in this league. I mean, you hear a lot of guys who put on shows and do fancy things they compare to Michael, but his playing at both ends and what he does in a competitive situation is as close to most things that I've seen with Michael.
Sean, I think you make a very good point. We'll pick that up in a second as we go to Craig Sager.
You also have to remember how far Kobe Bryant has come. I remember his rookie year when he averaged just 7 points a game as a 17-year-old. There was an injury to Eddie Jones. He got into the starting lineup for a stretch of 3 games. He scored over 20 and scored 30 points. Del Harris afterwards said, that's the worst thing that could happen. I said, what do you mean the worst? It's got to be the greatest thing for his confidence. He goes, no, now he'll be able to think that he can shoot all the time, and it'll be easy to score 30 points in this league. Well, I guess a few years later, it is easy for him to score 30.
Medvedenko digging his way for 2. Well, Danny, you've seen great players going back to the 70s. John has seen him going back to the 50s.
Watch yourself.
30s. 60s.
Watch yourself.
Yeah, we're just giving you the benefit of the doubt.
Watch yourself.
But my question is, this 5-game span where he has averaged almost 40 points a game, taking this team on his back, leading them to what could be their 5th consecutive win tonight, and back into the, is this as good a 5-game span as you've ever seen?
You know, this is like the great players. You know, we see Tracy McGrady, who's had 8 games plus over 30 points recently. And great players, it's amazing. You know, I always get hot in a game or a half, and I have a great game every now and then, like most role players. But Larry Bird used to stay hot for 6 weeks, and he used to go in these kind of stretches. It was amazing, and the great ones do that. They go for game after game with a lot of stretches. But so far this year, this is definitely the best. I mean, this is so fun.
This is unbelievable. Kobe Bryant, with 38 points in 31 minutes, continues to dazzle the sellout crowd at Madison Square Garden. Fisher knocked it away. Harrington gets it back. Buck 18 to play here in the third quarter.
The Lakers defense is awesome. They are moving and running and scrapping.
Nice shot put up and in by Shandon Anderson, the former Rocket and former Utah Jazz player.
And we can talk all we want. You know, the Lakers, they kind of tried to turn it on Christmas Day against Sacramento. Sacramento took their best punch, and that was devastating to the Lakers because they played so hard that day. But you know what? And they started facing the other team's best shot, but they keep playing that hard night in and night out like they have been. That's why they're winning all their games.
Fox missing. Kobe got whacked in the eye and a little blurry-eyed as he goes back the other way on defense with a half-minute to play here in the third. The Knicks are shooting 47%. Lakers are shooting 60. That's right, 6-0. Shannon Anderson.
That was a very good pass by Thomas. He reacted to the double team. The cutter made a great cut, and he threw it to Anderson.
Lakers have led by as many as 34. The Knicks have had 1 lead of a point tonight.
You put Shaq and Kobe out on the court and take any 2 Lakers and let the Knicks play with 5 against 4. I think the Lakers would still win this game.
The crowd is stunned.
The Knicks fans are starting to cheer for Kobe now.
Wouldn't you?
No.
Last time down, remember now, on the offensive side, he got inadvertently hit in the face by the defending Shandon Anderson. Maybe it was Lee Naylor.
Oh, he looked like he hit himself in the face. He's all right.
Well, we saw his arm. Just knocked in his 40th point.
I'm wondering why he hadn't gotten hit in the face more of what he's doing out there to them.
No question.
Fatherhood has agreed with Kobe Bryant since little Italia was born a couple weeks ago. He has been on a tear. Shaq is getting healthy and getting in shape. That is the one thing that teams cannot compete against, is Shaquille O'Neal. They have not found a remedy. They can't inoculate themselves from him. Then you got Kobe, and then these other ones, Danny, as you talked about early in the broadcast, if the supporting cast of Fisher and Fox and Robert Horry, if they all come to play and do what they're supposed to do, who's going to beat the Lakers?
Well, especially defensively. You know, we talk about making the outside shots, which they have to do, of course. But they also, if they play this kind of defense, and you know, the Lakers have been vulnerable to the pick and roll defense and to the quick guards. And that was the same last year where Steve Nash's, Mike Bibby's, and those guys gave the Lakers so many problems. That's still a hole, but they're compensating it with just Kobe and Shaq are just completely.
And we're talking about who's going to beat the Lakers. The Lakers haven't even made the playoffs yet. That's the pity of what's going on.
As the biggest names in the league have come east in their lone Madison Square Garden appearance, which is sold out. Not a ticket to be found. Kobe with 40, Shaq with 28, and the three-time defending world champion Los Angeles Lakers, who have led by as many as 34, lead at 97-67 going to the fourth quarter.
Oh man, and this is another thing that great players do. I mean, Kobe Bryant, we know what his number is, 40 points right now, but Allen Houston's in the locker room because he doesn't want to play. Kurt Thomas has 2 points, 0 for 3, because he has to put so much energy in defending Shaq. And that's the other thing they do, is what it does to the head, to your opponents.
Well, that's what Don Chaney said. That Craig Sager reported that after that dunk, it seemed to have deflated the Knicks, and they haven't been as competitive since that occurred.
Medvedenko out there with Horry, Devin George, Kobe Bryant, Kareem Rush. Charlie Ward is in the game for the New York Knicks with Nalon, Harrington, Doliak, Sprewell. We talked about Houston moments ago. X-rays negative. Hurt his wrist in the opening seconds of the game. Out for the second half. All-star break begins for both these teams after tonight. 2-point miss by Kobe Bryant. Rare miss tonight. He has gone 16 of 24.
And the Knicks fans are behind us hollering, oh, he's having one of those I was there games.
Michael Doliak is at 2 in a row, the former Cleveland Cavalier and Orlando Magic player.
And I think, you know, Kobe's going to get a few more shots at it, see if he's still hot now that he's kind of calmed down, his emotions aren't into it anymore, and give him a few extra minutes, and he'll probably be out.
Rush to Medvedenko. Good fake. Elon Pitt.
Medvedenko ain't with the program, though. He doesn't know we're want to see Kobe score.
Lakers come in tonight having won 4 consecutive games. They're at 500 for the first time since Craig Sager, November 3rd, when they were 2-2. Tonight they come in 23 up and 23 down.
We know how special that quarter was for Kobe Bryant with 22 points. That's just 2 off the all-time Laker record for most points in the quarter. 24 shared by Elgin Baylor and Jerry West.
How about those names? Sprewell across the lane.
I saw them play.
I know you did. You didn't play against him when you were with the Celtics, but you watched him. Here comes
He had already retired.
Rush. John had retired.
Yeah. I think I was in the 2nd grade. I saw him play.
What year was that?
Listen to this.
I wasn't even born.
If you don't know, I don't have to tell you. I'm going to tell you that.
John, that away. Camouflage all the things in your life.
That's right.
Nalon. Why'd the Hornets let him go, Danny? Lee Nalon.
Because he can't defend and rebound. That's why he's not playing for the Knicks, because the Knicks need interior offense and defense and rebounding. And, you know, Nalon can score the ball, but he has to do a better job of playing the other elements of the game, or he's going to have a tough time finding a job.
Kobe. Chased by Sprewell, launching at 2. He's missed 2 straight. Here's Kareem Rush, top pick by Toronto. Rights traded to the Lakers. Phil Jackson likes him.
Give the ball to Kobe. We want to see Kobe score that.
Rush. Lakers 0-6 shooting in this 4th quarter.
The thing that you have to admire Kobe about, though, if you watch his performance, he just does not play on the offensive end of the court. His offense overshadows so many of the other things, very much like Michael, that he does on the floor.
There's Charlie Ward. He's having a great season. 9 years with this team. The lead now is at 20.
Yeah, the Lakers just aren't playing offensively with any sort of energy. They're just kind of standing around because they know the game is over.
New York's on a 10-0 run. Ward, Naylock, into George. Doliak. Naylock. Clearing some timber. There's Oren. Kobe with Medvedenko at 2-on-1. Sweet pass. Wipe it away. Will not come with the charge.
That's what you get, Medvedenko. Throw the ball back to Kobe. Kobe should have given up to him just a little earlier so he would have get back. That's an old trick from the score.
They didn't teach that in the Ukraine.
Kobe should have given it to him just a little earlier, and he probably would have got that ball back.
He gave it to him early, thinking that he was going to receive it back. The kid's not smart enough to understand that's what he's supposed to do.
They don't really have any superstars. They just have a lot of quality players, and their bench is every bit as good as their starters.
Michael Doliak. Lakers have not scored in this quarter. They led by 30 coming in. The lead down to 20 right now. Sprewell for 3. It's a 17-point game with under 8 to play.
Well, they better be careful because you're letting them ease back into this game. This crowd will turn on them. You take Kobe out, you put Shaq back in, so you'll have one of your superstars in. But if you don't watch out before we know it, we'll be into a dogfight.
Well, when they were up 30, you could tell they kind of turned their brains off. And it's hard to turn the brain back on. And, usually it takes Shaq 5 minutes to get going in a regular game. In this 4th quarter, it might take him until they get within 10 before he gets real serious.
Charlie Ward for 3. A 16-0 run by the New York Knicks. Ward with the 3 right there, and tonight he's got 2 threes. That's 500 for his career. Very few Knicks have accomplished that.
Well, they're putting confidence back in the Knicks now. I mean, you talk about how they're coming back. This is what has happened to the Lakers as a season. They've got to definitely still maintain that kill factor here.
A little over 5 minutes before the Lakers get their first field goal right there from Derek Fisher.
Big shot by Fisher right there, but you could see, Kobe kind of looked like he was just going through the motions there in the 4th quarter. Shot, and all of a sudden, the Knicks are feeling it. And they have nothing to lose. So it's always amazing to me that people say, well, why don't they do this the whole game? Well, it's a whole different mindset. They're down by 30, and they're just jacking them up free and easy.
Sprewell's got 21. Here comes Shaq, plowing his way inside into Doliak, and a foul called on Doliak. Kobe is on the bench with 40 points. Lakers have hit 9 threes. Their lead at 34 now is down 99-86, 13 points. New York 10 of 15 hitting threes tonight. The Knicks are.
And what I love about Sprewell is here Kobe's having this unconscious game. He's in one of those deals. But Sprewell, he's still playing. I mean, that guy's got 21. He's still in the game. And, he hasn't put his head down. The guy just keeps going at it.
O'Neal's got 30 points. Right after this, we'll take you to Denver, where the San Antonio Spurs playing well. We'll take on the Denver Nuggets.
The Spurs are playing great. They're another team, kind of like Detroit, that everyone's kind of forgotten about with a little bit of a slow start. But them in Portland, people aren't talking much about them. It's all Sacramento and Dallas, and I think the 5 really good teams out west.
Still a 13-point Laker lead. Bryant Shaw. He'll lock it in. He has been shooting horribly last 3 games, maybe last 5 games. Only 3 of 14. Shaw tonight has gone 2 of 2.
Well, with Shaq in the lineup, Kevin, that gives Shaw free shot.
Sprewell has got 24.
Well, and you wonder whether Kobe's coming back real soon, too, because, these games with these 3-point shots will put you back in the game in a hurry.
Ryan Shaw for 3. Shaw, a 30% three-point shooter in his career. Naylor, good move by Fisher. Doliak, Sprewell, who went 9 for 9 from three-point territory Tuesday. And they get it down low to Harrington. Rebound by Ori. The rebounding advantage standing at plus 13 for the Los Angeles Lakers. Lakers are down to 55% shooting. And the New York Knicks, who have shot well all night long, shooting 51%. Kobe Bryant on the bench with 40. Lakers on top. Kobe Bryant is in. Shaq is at the line.
Well, and I think the Lakers played poorly enough to give the New York team a confidence factor back again, because New York now feels it, the crowd feels it, so now guys were getting ready to take a day off, Kevin, for All-Star break, but now they got to go to work again.
Lakers led by 34, 95-61, just before the end of the third quarter. Knicks now have outscored the Lakers 30-10 over the last almost 9 minutes.
You know, people ask me all the time, how does that happen in the NBA? And, you know, we talk about the Lakers just letting up a little bit, but the other thing is these are incredible shots the Knicks are hitting. These guys are phenomenal players, and they're getting momentum, and they just can't stop the momentum of these great players. So, you know, this doesn't happen at other levels quite as much because you don't have this level of talent. People that can't score 30 points in the gym by themselves at those lower levels sometimes.
Well, remember, earlier this season, the Lakers were down by 28 to Dallas and came back and beat the Mavericks. Ori with the miss. Doliak, who's come off the bench with 6 points and 5 rebounds, gets it for New York. Plenty of time to play. Approaching 4 minutes remaining in the fourth. Doliak again.
Well, see, and that's a problem because he's sitting that screen and stepping out, and Shaquille definitely does not want to go out there and guard in there. The Lakers had better tighten up defensively.
And all this happening without the Knicks' leading scorer, Allen Houston, out from halftime on because of a wrist injury suffered early in the game. Shaq, look at Doliak pushing and grinding on Shaquille O'Neal.
That's like lifting weights down there. You know, you're in a gym lifting weights. It's amazing he can even make an outside shot right now when he's in the weight room down in the paint at the other end.
What do you know about lifting weights?
I knew that I couldn't do it and shoot.
I'm glad you asked him, Craig.
I have to lift a weight every night in here next to Coach. Create some space.
Search now.
Kobe Bryant with 42. There is still some gas left in the tank on Kobe Bryant's side.
Yeah, that'll leave a mark right there. That might have been the one to close the books. Unless the Knicks can answer with a 2 or 3 quickly.
New York, 11 of 16 shooting threes. Now they are 12 of 17. The Knicks have hit their last 7 3-point shots tonight.
Yeah, gentlemen, I think we're about to ready to have some fun in here tonight.
Kobe Bryant, Doliak with the rebound.
What about Charlie Ward? He's been huge.
Looking inside, out of bounds off New York. Ward off the bench, 15 points in 22 minutes. He's got 10 assists, a double-double for Charlie Ward off the bench.
And that's a catchable pass by Neal, and Neal's got to be able to catch that because once Charlie hits a couple of baskets, the defense will spot up on him, and he did the right thing. He tried to find somebody else open.
What about that turnover? 16 Laker turnovers, 17 for the Knicks. What a shot!
We got a ball game.
Michael Doliak with 10 points all in this fourth quarter. And now the curtain is alive. It's Robert Ori. He'll put up a 3. Shaq inhales the rebound. And a foul inside. It's on Doliak. He is gone. Look at the Knicks, 5 of 5. 3-point shooting in the fourth. We've got a game at the Garden as they're on their feet. 3-point shooting team in the NBA, so John, we shouldn't be so surprised that they're trying to get back in this game with that kind of tool.
Well, and I think what happened is that Phil Jackson substituted. You take Shaq out, now you start putting the other guys in the game. Now what happens is the Knicks put their people in and they start making baskets. We're talking about swagger, we're talking about fear factor, and the Knicks just work us all out.
What about Latrell Sprewell? He's made 14 of his last 15 3-point shots.
He's hit his last 5 threes too, Danny, and that's been impressive. And a good defensive play right there by Latrell Sprewell. That's Kobe Bryant coughs it up. Lakers led by 34 points.
So, and this is what the Knicks were not doing earlier. They didn't meet the challenge. When the Lakers took off on them and got very competitive, the Knicks sort of went quiet, but now they're starting to really compete.
Charlie Ward for three. Kurt Thomas with the rebound. Sprewell saves it. Under 2 to play. Nice pass, Harrington to Naylor. The Knicks have their highest scoring fourth quarter this season.
Well, and it's on the Lakers now. You'll see psychologically, this is a psychological chess game. The Knicks really went flat, and now they've responded, but now the Lakers have sort of calmed down. They've got to respond right now to adversity.
Harrington almost let it slip away.
And now the game's getting close. Now let's see if those shots are going to go down. It's always easy to make the shots when you're behind by 30. All of a sudden, the game gets within 5. But this defense and this offense of the Knicks has really stepped up. Right here, Sprewell taking the challenge. He sees the screen. Just does a great job with those long arms, stripping the ball from Kobe. And Robert Horry keeps that ball alive. Charlie Ward staying active. Charlie Ward, again, he's just been a big factor. Him and Sprewell are single-handedly bringing this team back.
Sprewell rejected by Shaquille O'Neal. He's had 3 blocks tonight. He had 7 the other night in Indianapolis against the Indiana Pacers.
The Lakers look tired. Both Horry and Shaquille O'Neal took a long time coming across the 10-second line.
Shot clock at 7. Kobe Bryant into Shaq, fouled by Harrington. The Knicks have come back one time this season from a deficit large enough to talk about in terms of tonight, 17 points when they came back to beat Indiana. And no team in the NBA has played more close games this season than New York, with O'Neal at the line, where he is 10 of 13. The New York Knicks have played 13 games this year of 3 points or less, and they're 6 and 7 in those games.
I think the Lakers went on their all-star break about 12 minutes too soon.
And it happened right at the time that they substituted. It looked as if the game was over. The Knicks picked up a lot of confidence once they substituted and started rotating Shaq and Kobe.
The best news about this, they might not have an open in the next game.
Sprewell. He thought he was clipped. No call made. Out of bounds, the air ball sails. Sprewell down to 16, 24 points, and 5 threes in a row until that miss right there.
Yeah, but he's fussing with the official and didn't pick up.
Sprewell picks up his 5th foul. Let's see if Sprewell had a point.
Yeah, he got hit on the wrist a little bit, but the only thing I'll say about that is they got Kobe twice early in the game and they weren't called. What goes around comes around, called the snake bite. The good defenders get away with it.
The snake bite.
Just tap the shooter's wrist or tip their elbow.
And that really was a slight tap. He might have fouled him, but he really didn't hit him that hard.
That's all it takes on a 3-point shot, though. That'll throw it off.
For Kobe Bryant. Shaquille O'Neal's put in 33. Timeout. Seconds left. Harrington. 6-point game.
You know, the Lakers will probably win this game, but they had a chance to come out of here feeling great. You know, they're just like the cow that gave the bucket of milk and kicked it over. They ruined some of the they ruined some of the psychological benefits of this game, I think, by what they've done.
I think they feel pretty great, though. That first
they
quarters.
should feel great with any victory now. But heck, it gave some other people some more confidence in thinking you can come back on. They've got to be intimidating, I think, with their performance, of course.
But I'll tell you what, though, I mean, again, we got to give the New York Knicks credit. They are #1 in the league in three-point shooting, and we saw that incredible three-point shooting out there that got them back in the game. There's not very many teams that can shoot the three like New York and make that kind of a quick run. So maybe Dallas and Milwaukee, few teams.
Mark Manson has come in. There goes Shaq. Shaq will leave with 33 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists from the free throw line tonight. He was 11 of 15. The Knicks have 7 players, Danny, in double figures.
That guy right there, he's pretty good.
I would say so. I still feel a little disappointed that they didn't smash him when they had him, Danny. You know, I just think they need that for their own sake. They needed to send a message to the rest of the league.
Nalon out of bounds off the Lakers.
You know what, Coach? I think that every team I played on the 86 Celtics teams and 85 and the Portland teams and the Suns team. I mean, every team I've been associated with, that's always a problem in the NBA. To stay motivated. Great players like Larry Bird and Charles Barkley and, you know, Clyde Drexler. Those guys just sometimes get bored with a 30-point lead, and they think they're coming out. And you're playing against great teams. It's such a hard thing to turn off and on within a game itself. And, you know, usually the team that has the big lead hangs on to win.
If the Lakers do win tonight, they'll be 24 and 23. Remember now, in late December, they were 8 games below 500. Since that time, with tonight's win, if they go on and win with 11 seconds to play, they will have gone 13 and 4 since that time. A dramatic turnaround and the first time above 500.
And everybody in the league is taking notice. Believe me, they are sitting out there and going, oh no, Lakers are back. But you know what's happened with the Lakers? Everybody has gotten better around them. The Lakers are getting back to where they have been over the last few years in the championship runs. But Sacramento's better, Dallas is better, Portland is better, San Antonio's better, Phoenix is better. Everybody is better around them, and and Houston's better, and that's making it more difficult.
Kobe is better.
Kobe's better too.
Hey, did you guys hear what I just said? I said this will be the first time the Lakers have been above 500 all
That's
season.
my point. I mean, I heard you exactly, and that's why I don't think that they can afford to give any slack to anybody at this point. I agree with Danny about great teams having a tendency to slack back, but this is a team that's fighting to be over 500, fighting to be in the playoffs. They don't have anything to get bored about.
What do you want us to do? Give you an ovation or something? I'm saying that?
Yes, he did.
I'm going to go back over this to make sure I'm right.
We thought it was insignificant.
We should give him an ovation, Dan.
I'm right.
Yeah, you're right, Kevin. That's good. Good job.
That means no strike on me. 9 seconds to play. Kobe ties, guys, a season high with his 46 points tonight.
This guy has definitely been the perfect storm tonight. He's the problem the Knicks have had.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, Val Madsen. You're going to get Mad Dog on the scoreboard tonight.
Madsen is 2 of 10 from the free throw line this season.
2 of 10?
2 of 10.
He lives in L.A. We got to get him some sun.
Don Chaney's got to feel pretty good now. At least they came back competing. I thought he was really looking as if he was disgusted over there. And I really think the Knicks have overachieved, you know, just based on what you look at out there on the floor.
New York will watch their 3-game home winning streak come to a close. Boy, the Knicks have got a real test after the All-Star break. 14 of 21 games on the road, including a very long West Coast road trip, which will either keep their season buoyant or sink it.
That is going to be true. We'll probably know after that West Coast trip where they are, and that's going to be very difficult for them to get any wins out there.
Lakers winning 114-109, but remember they led by 34 points late in the third quarter and could not put the Knicks out. Knicks outscored them 48-19 down the stretch. Craig Sager, let's go to you.
Well, Kobe, obviously your night, terrific first half, 22 points in the third quarter, but you had to come off the bench to save this victory. What effect does that have on this team, the fact that you blew the 34-point lead?
Not much, really. I mean, we've blown 34-point leads before, unfortunately, but I think at this point in time in the season, it's just important to get a win. And it does kind of feel good to kind of have some type of a game on the road where the home team comes back and you have to stop their momentum.
You only come to New York once a year, playing here in the Garden. What was it like for you to have such a great game here tonight?
I love New York City, man. I really do. It's just, you know, this is the mecca of basketball, and I just love coming here to play. It's a beautiful gym.
13-4 since Christmas Day. Is the swagger back, and what does it feel like as being a Laker now?
You know, we're just playing very well right now. The important thing is that we're taking it game to game. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We're going to heal our wounds over the All-Star break, come back second half of the season, and hopefully be a better team.
Well, you're hot. See you in Hotlanta this weekend.
All right.